Hey, what's up, guys? It's Fulke here. I just want to give a shout out to Boogie Bentley, Dauber, and the Indie Kid over at the Talkin VAWLS network on YouTube. Keep doing your thing, guys. Go Vols.
This is the Talkin VAWLS network. This is your Tennessee, North Carolina post-game basketball show. My name's the Indie Kid.
And I'm Dauber.
Tennessee bounce back. What's happening, dude? Tennessee bounces back 89-72. They throttle North Carolina. They put their foots on their throats. They did not let off today. Nice bounce back from Tennessee. Nice bounce back from Rick Barnes. I swear Rick Barnes listens to me. He always, anytime I'm questioning him, he bounces back and proves me wrong. So hats off to these guys today. A lot of positives today. We got a lot to talk about. Opening thoughts on this game, Dauber.
Yeah, like you said, good way to come back, bounce back from the really lackluster effort and poor shooting, poor defensive effort yesterday. I think they did find their shot today. Definitely was a good bit better. Ended up, I think, 54%. So that's that'll win you a lot of games.
Yeah, 54% from just field goals and 45% three-point range. 9 out of 20 on there. Rick Barnes adjusted today. It was I wanted to see a little bit of what was going on. I've got to highlight this. It's kind of funny. Dauber falling into a black hole. It's like you're Back to the Future where you're about to go away or something. But man, what a change today in the lineup, though. Just not necessarily in what they started. Josiah Jordan-James out. Justin Powell started, but 3 freshmen grew up in a hurry today. So before we get any further, let me go ahead and hit this big time right here. John Hill, $20. Much different team today. Barnes must have lit a fire under their butts. Thank you, John. Thank you very much for the super chat. I totally agree on that. I don't know what changed from yesterday. We questioned effort yesterday. Effort was not a case today.
Not at all.
But I noticed there was some change, and once Ziegler come in and kind of got rolling, they went with it. And he played fantastic today. And I love the combo with him, Chandler, and Vescovi. You had 3 ball handlers on the floor at pretty much the rest of the game. Once that they got rolling, they would rotate Powell in. You kind of had a rotation going between Fulkerson, Kamwa, Huntley, Hatfield, who I thought had a heck of a game today, bounced back. Euros, who I thought did some good things today. Welcome back to John Fulkerson, who looked a little bit more like the John Fulkerson we expect today. It was a big-time effort from these guys today.
Yeah, I mean, night and day difference. Looked like a completely different team. I'll throw this out there. I said Ziegler was kind of the under-the-radar guy that I had for this team based on what I saw, the open practice, the little scrimmage they had before the Ole Miss game that I got to see. Was super impressed with him. You know, they talked about it multiple times. A guy that had no D1 offers going back to July, and then shows out at a tournament, and
that's down here where I live.
Tennessee jumped on him, and man, that looks like he is going to be a big time contributor and pickup. And hey, who called it yesterday? You and I both said, let's get some more speed on the floor. Let's get might not have to run big guys. Get some ball handlers, some shooters out there, and run with some pace, because I think that's the way this team is built. And it seems like every time they do that, they're a bit more efficient. Man, I love it. You got speed on the football field. You got speed on the basketball field or on the court.
Heck yeah.
It's awesome. It's exciting to watch.
Yeah, that's interesting about Ziegler. And you called it. You and I talked off air and then mentioned on air as well when you watched him, his speed, he could shoot. Interesting, he had no offers. He was originally a 2022 guy.
Reclass.
That tournament they're talking about, it's the Nike Peach Jam. It's actually down here where I live. It's actually right down the road from where I teach at. They say it's in Augusta. It's technically in North Augusta, South Carolina, is where the tournament's at. I didn't get to go because they still weren't letting fans in this year. But all your top coaches are down there. They are scouting out this talent. And, if a guy shows out at that tournament, he's going to turn some heads because all your top coaches are in attendance for that. That's what happened with Ziegler. But, yeah, we said it, got to play faster. They played faster today. I mean, just at the end when North Carolina was pressing them, and here you got Ziegler just dribbled between two guys, hit Chandler, they go up, hit Huntley Hatfield, I think, on the run. I think that was the one. But he's different effort.
Got a very good court presence and vision. And Ziegler and Chandler out there at the same time, man, it's two burners. And they both are impressive with the ball. Good handling skills.
Yeah, and I was texting some buddies of mine before the game. I was like, I don't remember us beating North Carolina in anything in my lifetime. And apparently they hadn't beaten North Carolina basketball in 72 years prior to today. I remember the freaking Music City Bowl. Boogie is in the chat. Boogie was there for that debacle. A couple years ago with Vitello and the baseball team, when they first got back to the tournament, they had to go to the Chapel Hill Regional. Who put them out of it? Freaking North Carolina.
There was an NCAA tournament when I was in college. I think I was actually in Panama City on spring break, and UNC put Tennessee out.
That was Tennessee blew that guy. I remember it because that was when North Carolina had Joe Forte.
Yep. That's
when Tennessee had C.J. Black and those guys. And they had North Carolina had Julius Peppers at the time. Julius Peppers, they fouled out somebody. I can't remember who it was. And then Julius Peppers come in and took over. But, a couple times they did a home and home a few years ago with North Carolina. Yep. Had leads in both games and blew them. Yeah, it was nice to beat them finally in something. And, against Rick Barnes, I thought there was a lot of look in the mirror from yesterday. The effort, the lineup. I noticed once Ziegler got rolling, you didn't see Victor Bailey anymore. Yeah. And I thought Bailey was playing okay earlier on when he was in. He missed a couple shots, but I didn't think he was playing bad. But, man, once Ziegler got going, they pretty much rolled with him and Chandler and Vescovi and then just rotated their big guys.
We talked about it last night. The lack of effort, especially on the one turnover he had, when he just let the guy run right by him. I mean, at least grab the ball, get an over and back call, and get the defense set. But, I think that stuff like that sticks out to a coach. And when you've got other guys that are, going to give that effort, that's a good way to get you some quality time on the pine.
Yeah, that's right. I missed a super chat I meant to hit here earlier, but Jordan Estrada for $4.99. We had more points in the paint today than total points yesterday, able to spread the floor and push inside with those 3 guards. Absolutely. And thank you, Jordan, for the super chat. Totally agree, man. They were giving North Carolina a tough time. And if it hadn't have been for, what was the guy's Beardy for North Carolina? Manic. I can't remember the name off the. I mean, he was lights out shooting.
6 of 10 from 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, and I felt like he was 10 out of 10, but he kept North Carolina in that game. That dude, if it hadn't been for him, I really think that's a 30-point win for Tennessee today. And then John Hill, Boogie been paying attention to basketball. That deserves $10 right there. Yeah, thanks again, John. Thanks for your generosity today. Yeah, if you got Boogie on the basketball, something's good's going on with it for sure. But I'm curious to see, does Barnes
stick with that?
Did he find something today that he's going to stick with, or when Jordan James comes back, is he going back to him? I could see a lineup with Ziegler, Chandler, Vescovi, Jordan James, and then one of the big guys.
Fulke, and then rotate.
Yeah, Fulkerson. I could see him. I could see Huntley Hatfield. He looked good today. I thought he did some good things in there. And Kamwa, I mean, he did all right. Better than he was yesterday. And again, Euros, he had some positive contributions. Now, I think we figured out at this point, if he gets posted up, he's done. Guy, he's not the most fleet-footed individual that there is, but he had positive momentum today as well. And I've seen a couple of people mention this chat or meant to mention this. Lady Vols big win over Texas today as well. So a really good day for Vols hoops. And, coming off of getting bowl eligible last night. And if you want to check out the post game for football from last night, I dropped a day after video today if you're interested in checking that out. Lady Vols wins today. Tennessee basketball bounces back. Overall, a good weekend for the basketball Vols, a good weekend for Tennessee athletics. Where do they build off of this moving forward is the question.
I think, you look back to yesterday and how awful of a performance that they had. Go back to the hotel, get dinner, and I think they really did some self-evaluation and because they came out and looked like a completely different team. We had a bunch of guys 0 for yesterday, and then here you've got 3 for 6, 6 of 7, 6 of 12, 6 of 13, 4 of 8. That's guys hitting some shots. So I don't know if it was just, first road game. You do have some new guys kind of getting gelled together. But hopefully that's a glimpse of the Tennessee team that you see more often than not. Listen, that was out the gate really with two big time opponents. Villanova's not a slouch, and I think UNC is going to be they'll be mid to upper ACC. I think they've got some things to work out, just like Tennessee does. But I think they're a good team too. So coming out of that, did you watch any of the Purdue Villanova game?
No, I didn't actually.
I'll tell you what, Purdue, they look pretty solid.
One of our listeners, Wayne, of course, I've known Wayne for years. He called it yesterday. He said Purdue's a top-notch team.
Yeah.
And it proved that. I think one of the things that helped today was style of play. I think Villanova was I think they were a stronger, more physical team. They were able to slow Tennessee down. Of course, Tennessee, somebody said in our post-game comments, they said, well, you can't revert to an old lineup that didn't exist. They reverted yesterday to Vescovi at the point guard, Victor Bailey, Fulkerson, Euros, and Josiah Jordan James. That is an old lineup. So if you're listening in the chat and you made the comment, that's fine. But that's what I meant by it. He went back to what he was comfortable with. Today, tried something new, and look what happened with it. When that group of lineup did not work last year, don't really see a reason to use it again this year. And I like what they did. And it just so happened Ziegler come in for hot hand, and you stick with him.
Well,
and his speed was huge.
This game was pretty close up until that little run at the end of the first half that Tennessee made. It was kind of back and forth, and they put together a really good closeout to the first half to kind of build. Ended up a 7-point halftime lead, and then came out in the second half and just kept rolling, which it was really good to see this team kind of build the lead, but then sustain it and add to it and get distance. And they never really gave North Carolina a chance to get a run to crack down and cut. They just kept matching them. you kind of hate to see that though. You come down, hit a big three, and then like you said, it seemed like every time Manic caught the ball for UNC, he was firing up a three and it was going in, just matching everything that Tennessee would do on the other end. But I guess trading baskets is better than losing them. So it was good test. Great way to bounce back and get that sour taste of yesterday's loss kind of out of your mouth.
Interesting. Chuck Ickey says yesterday it sounded like y'all that we would never win another game. We're going to the Final Four today. A big difference in mindset. Yesterday was rough. And, we stated it numerous times and it got real repetitious. The effort was the problem yesterday. Wasn't the loss. There's no shame in losing to Villanova. The effort was a problem, and it was from veteran guys. And I was reading Rick Barnes' comments. He called a few guys out yesterday. He didn't necessarily say it for their effort, but he said there were some guys who needed to be better, and he called a few veterans out for it.
I don't think this team is currently at the level of a Final Four team. Like I said yesterday, it's early. Third, fourth game of the season. You're finding yourselves out. You want to be playing your best basketball late February into March and peaking at that time. And I think playing these tough games, playing teams like Texas. I know a few people have said in the chat we play Texas. Yeah, got Texas. You got Arizona. You got Memphis, UNC Greensboro.
Yep.
There's still another handful of games that are going to only serve to help this team get better for the late run in hopefully the tournament.
Yeah. Let's say Right to Vape, $5 super chat. Thank you. ZZ was on fire. Yeah, man, he was a big boost today. I mean, Tennessee was playing good early. They come out playing well. Struggled a little bit with shots early on. Man, once Ziegler come in, though, he really was a boost. And they had substituted him for Chandler initially. And then once they started running them together, it's like it wasn't a game after that. I mean, it was pretty much 10 points or more the whole time. Like you mentioned, let's see. Make sure I get his name right here for North Carolina. Manic. Yeah, it was Manic. I mean, he kept North Carolina in that game. Like you said, at least it was trading baskets. They never went on a run. They couldn't handle Tennessee's speed.
Yeah.
Today. I mean, Tennessee, especially when they get out run, even in their half court set looked a lot better today. It looked night and day better from what it was yesterday. I mean, maybe sometimes you've got to get punched in the mouth to realize where you're at, and then you come back. That's why I liked that they're able to bounce back and play another good team today and didn't have to wait 3, 4, 5 days to play it. I think that was good for them because they didn't have to stew on it. They were able to come out and get that sour taste out of their mouths.
Or even longer. It wasn't you played Nova yesterday, you wait a couple of days and you play a mid-major or somebody like that. You're right up there with another quality opponent.
Yeah. So let's see where we're at here. So just kind of stuff. We're at about 115 people watching right now. As Boogie always says, smash that thumbs up, guys. Smash that like button. If you're not subscribed already, you like the content we're bringing, or if you don't like the content we're bringing, make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button. You're getting all the notifications on it. We went live 3 times yesterday. We'll be live. I think the plan is Boogie and Dauber will be live Wednesday night, 7. I get to travel home for Thanksgiving, so I'll probably be out for that one. But there'll be videos coming this week. Plenty to cover on football. I know Boogie will be bringing. I'm going to try to cover some stuff on basketball. I really wanted to see how today went as to how what route I may go with videos, because if they had another lackluster effort like yesterday, there was probably going to be some uneasy videos to make. But today made life a little easier, and seeing where they go. I love the influx of freshmen.
Oh yeah,
today.
I mean,
Seeing those three guys night and day from yesterday, they looked like freshmen. Yesterday, they looked. Yeah, I mean, again, much better today.
and to me, if I'm one of those guys that's been on this team, and I'm getting ready to lose minutes to a freshman, what's that do? That lights a fire under you. That you have to get better, or I mean, you're going to be finding the bench and coming off the bench. Which, I mean, there's all types of guys that on a team that make up a team. That there are guys that contribute off the bench, but if I'm a player, man, I want to play, and it's going to drive me to get better. So it's good to see that kind of competition, and it creates drive, creates motivation. So
JJ Barnes is going to have to make it at least. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say, because the program's only been to one Elite Eight in history. So I mean, but I do agree. I think he needs to I think he needs to at least get to the second weekend this year. And as we've seen the last 2 days, a lot of that's going to depend on matchup. I really do. If they get a more physical veteran team like Villanova, it's going to be hard for them to deal with. If they get a more of a fast team, a team that wants to run and gun, I like what they can do. That a lot of Barnes teams have been more half-court teams. I think this one is more suited to get up and run and gun. I still want to see him use I would like to see him go 3 to 4 heavy guards in a game. And maybe Josiah Jordan-James allows him to do that. So we'll see on that. But I mean, it just the change today. That was big, man. And again, I was tickled to death, because I don't ever remember Tennessee beating North Carolina in any freaking thing. And finally beat them. Let's bring them on for Charlotte and the Dukes Bowl as well. Not to turn to football, but let's bring them in. Let's beat them again in football. Let's bring them on for baseball in the spring. Good baseball program at North Carolina. Let's bring them to Knoxville for the regional. Beat them again in that. Let's just go ahead and take care of 3 of them in 1 year.
Let's do it. Put our foot on their throat.
Put their foot on their throat. Don't let up. Let's see. I'm curious here. I was pulling up the schedule, see where they are moving forward. Looks like Tennessee Tech, that will be 3 o'clock. Is that on Friday, the 26th? That'll be 5 days away. I would say, I don't know. We'll update you on coverage for that for the week. I'll be back at home for the weekend. I won't be able to cover that. We'll see if we can maybe have some kind of coverage on that over the weekend, but probably won't be I'll just go ahead and put it out there. Probably not going to be a post game for that due to traveling to spend time with family this week. Excited to be able to get back home for that. But so we got coming up Tennessee Tech, Presbyterian at Colorado, Texas Tech, UNC Greensboro, USC Upstate, Memphis, and Arizona. Strong non-conference schedule. Got to think Tennessee Tech and Presbyterian, that Tennessee can roll pretty good there. At Colorado,
that'll be
I expect that'll be a challenge. Texas Tech comes to Knoxville. UNC Greensboro again. I'm not sure what UNC Greensboro has, but they're normally top of the Southern Conference. USC Upstate, they should be able to take care of business. Memphis and Nashville, and then Arizona.
That Memphis and Nashville, that'll be a big game for recruiting. It's kind of had some history with it, and old Penny has kind of renewed a little bit of a rivalry with that. So it'll be interesting to see that game. That is,
Penny can. Yeah, there's plenty of things Penny can do. 1-1 against him so far. Need to make that 2-1.
Yeah,
against him. We'll say he's definitely not. That would be a guy who's not very likable in Big Orange Country,
For sure.
He's a crybaby. He was a crybaby when he played. He's a crybaby now. All-world talent when he played. He'd get a hangnail and he'd be out for half the season. So, he hasn't changed much. He's still a crybaby now. He talked about bowling fist up. I'd like to see Penny and Grant Williams win at it a few years ago. Got a feeling old Penny would have got slammed and got to go off crying about it at that point. But I'm curious to see how Tennessee goes for the rest of non-conference. And I wonder if they're letting style of play dictate what they do. Maybe it's hot hands, like tonight with Ziegler. But I really see a hard time. Maybe you don't start Ziegler. Maybe you bring him off the bench. But I don't know, man. If I'm a veteran guy on this team, as we saw some veteran guys' minutes get diminished tonight. Of course, Josiah Jordan-James is out. If I'm Josiah Jordan-James, I'm saying I need to earn my minutes too.
Yeah.
Because third year in the program, he's a good player. He's a good asset to the program. Wasn't a 5-star player coming in. Just go call it like I see it on that. He's definitely an asset to the program, though. But, what can he add to what they did tonight? Can he help these guys amplify what they're doing? Can he help them do better? Or is he a guy who needs to be on watch for minutes?
I mean, he's definitely I think he led the team in rebounding last year. And he is one of those guys, if he's going offensively, he is an asset. Pretty good defense, but I've looked for him to step up and kind of be one of those leaders because he is a veteran. But he's been lacking in that. I think if he were to do that, anything that is kind of a negative point on him is overshadowed by that leadership ability on the court. But like Blitz 621 says right here, concerned about the defense, and that's it's strange because that's Barnes's calling card is typically on the defensive end of the court, but this team isn't built to play against a big physical type team, and we saw that yesterday against Nova. If even their guards, when they were posting up, they were just backing down and turning around and getting a bank off the glass in. You get big guys banging around, and man, it is concerning. If you go against a team that's matched up with some true bigs, I think this team could struggle. The other thing is going back to yesterday and then looking at this afternoon's game, the shooting. And I've said that this team will only go as far as their shooting allows. And they were cold as ice yesterday. Came out and shot the ball a lot better today. And you have to think that to a point when the game's going like that, you can't buy a bucket. It becomes a little bit mental. And when shots are dropping, it seems like they're dropping for everybody. Just a much better game today, and you hope you have more of those where they're dropping than not.
Yeah, and thanks Blitz 621 499 concerned about I actually thought the defense was pretty good today, outside of letting Manic get open and fire away. I thought they were pretty good. I mean, they adjusted or deflected or even blocked quite a few shots today of North Carolina. They're in between Fulkerson, Euros had some moves in there. Huntley Hatfield, I know he deflected or altered some shots today. I thought the defense was pretty good today, to be honest. I didn't have a problem with it.
Moving forward, though.
Yeah.
I can see matchups that are a cause for concern with the roster the way it is, but you use that to your advantage, like this team did today. Go guard heavy, go speed and quickness, and do like teams did to Tennessee last year. You get big guys in there that you can just, one step and around if they're slow on their feet. That was the thing yesterday with Villanova, and we talked about it. Their footwork, the way they move to get in front of the ball, that's we touched on it a little bit. I think there were a few bad calls, but I also think Tennessee was lazy. They were not moving their feet to get in front of the as a defender, and Villanova was. Going back and I watched the highlights again. There was a lot of times Tennessee was a step late.
Numerous times, yeah.
It's those are always bang bang and hard to call. But I think you said it last night. It's not changed. The definition of a charge has not changed. If your feet are moving, it still should be a block. And then, the whole little circle underneath the basket and all that. I mean, I don't know. I have some issues with officiating in basketball, in football. Man, you got guys that carry the ball up and down the court all the time. They completely cup the ball. It's, but man, it is what it is, I guess.
It's a different game, and it's you see stuff. You'll see them cupping the ball. You'll see them traveling. You'll see guys stop and dragging a foot. You'll see them taking 3 steps. But then, a guy is just guarding and touches them and a foul whistle blow. It's just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
I have a real problem with the charge call, though, because it hasn't changed. You mentioned that circle. If a guy is inside that circle, it's a block.
Yep.
There's nothing changed, and we see it numerous times. It's called a charge. If a guy's coming down the lane, a dude jumps in front of him, that's a block. If the guy's set and in place and the dude just bowls him over, then yeah, that's a charge. But I mean, flopping is there. I mean, Tennessee benefited from that. I know there was one point in the first half, Conway flopped big time.
Oh yeah,
and he got the call on it. But it's just so inconsistent officiating, and I don't know, man. It blows my mind how one moment they'll let them play, and then the next moment it's like a guy breathes on them wrong, and it's a foul. It's got to be one way or the other. Either you got to let them play physical, or you got to call it the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think that's the key word right there. Is the inconsistency is what's frustrating.
Yeah, we are looking at 122 people. Let me pull it up here on the old YouTube. Let's see what we got going on. Here we are at 122 people viewing. We are, 116 according to this. 86 thumbs up right now. Let's drive that up, guys, and let's see if we can get this up to 150. Let's keep it rolling. There we go. We went up 7 just in that request. So 7 people listen. Rick Barnes is probably one of them. Rick likes to listen to our critique to see what he needs to do the next game and stuff. But what's the ceiling for this team moving forward? Do you think where do they move going forward?
To me, I think today showed you that there has to be a change in the lineup to accommodate the skill set of the guys you've got. I think this team's built to run and go faster tempo. You do have, like we talked about, the remainder of the non-conference schedule leading up to conference play. It's going to be tough, and I think you've got to lock down your starting lineup and then the guys that are coming off the bench. I mean, gosh, you've got two more ranked opponents. Well, no, one more ranked opponent in Memphis before you open league play with Alabama, who's top 15 team. So, and then towards the end of conference play, you throw number 8 Texas in there. So, as far as a ceiling for this team, man, it's hard to call because it is such a tough schedule. I fully anticipate this being a tournament team because they're going to be tournament tested by the time February, March rolls around. But, you know, if they have a bunch of games like they had yesterday, it could shape up to be a struggle.
If I'm Barnes, I know that at this point I can run. I can probably run with anybody. And I think that's going to suit them. I think they'll shoot better. I think they'll be better defensively when that happens. What I'm putting an emphasis on, number one, is getting stronger. As Villanova was a stronger team. They were a veteran team. They were more guard-oriented, but they were more physical.
Right.
They were just much stronger. And you know, that is the game I look at out of this weekend. And, you know, North Carolina's going to be a good team. North Carolina's going to get stronger along the way with Hubert Davis. I was reading about them, how they've adjusted a little more to 3 and 4 guards, where Roy before was more – he was kind of like Rick Barnes. He had to have his 2 big guys.
Kind of old school, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where Barnes comes from. I'm looking at is what am I going to do when a team slows me down? How's my half-court offense going to run? If I go Ziegler, if I go Chandler, if I go Vescovy, as they say. Oh, evidently been pronouncing the name wrong the whole time. So Vescovy. So if those 3 guys are in, how can we make plays with them? Who's the best options in the post? We know Fulkerson. He bounced back today. Is it Huntley Hatfield? Is it Kamwa? You know, Euros is more of a minute speller.
Yeah,
is what he is. Those 3 guys. Can you get a Jordan James in there as one of those 4th guys? You're going to have when somebody's going to slow you down. It's going to happen. How do they answer that?
I've been impressed with Kamwa's emergence from last year. He was kind of one of those guys that really was just logging some minutes for you last year. But he's definitely improved on the offensive end. So, I mean, I look for these guys to continue to kind of grow and you know, fit their role on the team. And if you can get some production out of them, fantastic. But I'm waiting for that one guy to step up and be the face of this team, be the leader on the court. You know, if I were to throw it out there, you'd think it'd have to be.
Not sure what's going on here, guys. I'm not sure if you can hear me or hear Dauber right now. Dauber, can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you on your end. Didn't catch anything there. There was something went a little haywire there. I'm not sure, you guys in the chat, who you can hear, if you can hear me or hear Dauber. If you'll let us know that, we can kind of know where to adjust. Okay, so you can hear me right now. Okay, not sure what's going on here, but we'll kind of proceed here. See if Dauber can get back going here. Didn't catch what he said on it, but again, I don't know, Dauber, if you may have to go out and come back in or what? Let's see if I can. All right. So, yep, you're looking at that mug right here for now. So, yeah, where do we go? I'm curious to see what this team does when a team slows them down. Again, I'm not worried about them when they're running. We've seen them run for the first couple games. I'm curious to see how they respond if they get another veteran team. I think some of these guys that you see, the SEC is a strong conference. And, I don't know. There he is. Nope. No, not sure what happened here. Still can't hear it. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you. On here. Let's see. Cody Branch, I don't think his team can win the SEC, but Elite Eight. Possible. And SEC, like I said, it's a strong conference. They're going to have to bring it moving forward when they get to that's why I like playing this strong out of conference schedule, because it prepares you for a stronger SEC. Your Alabamas, your Arkansas, your Kentuckys, Auburn, Ole Miss is going to be decent. Mississippi State. What does Florida have? I'm not sure about them. I think Vanderbilt, South Carolina, you should be able to handle them. Martin at Missouri, I'm sure he's going to be. It's going to be one of that's one of those teams that's going to try to slow you down. Is Conzo. How top heavy is LSU? What is LSU going to have? I would imagine, they've got a good coach. He's a slime ball, but he is a good coach. He's done good things down there. Bruce Pearl, same thing. Some of you guys may love Bruce Pearl. He's a slime ball. I don't like him. The only way I want him to come back is as a visitor. Otherwise, I don't need that guy to come back to Knoxville. Appreciate what he did, but what he did now is minor, but still yet. He knew what he was doing the whole time. And how he's still coach at Auburn, I don't know. Again, the SEC keeps getting better in basketball. I don't know if it's as top heavy as like an ACC or a Big Ten or whatever. But, it's definitely getting better. Terry Reed Martin at SC's on the hot. He's got to be. He has to be. I was reading about the preseason previews coming in, and they ranked South Carolina just ahead of Vanderbilt. And they talked about how there's no quick fix there. I mean, Martin got him to a Final Four somehow. It was a surprise they did, but he's not done much since. And, the funny thing, I'm down here kind of in the heart of South Carolina. You just don't hear anything about basketball. Down here. Filled with Tennessee fans are into football or into basketball or into baseball. They're into football down here. And even their baseball program's strong, but you don't hear much about it. And so, we're just Tennessee guy. I feel like I keep saying that, but I feel it was a very productive weekend. One, you faced a Villanova team who plays a different style, who gave you trouble. That gives you that showed you what you need to work on, what you need to adjust. You need to see that. If you don't know what your flaws are, it's hard to work on them. Villanova showed them what their flaws are. And part of that in that game was effort. But still, they weren't hitting the shots. I think the change of pace altered them in how they play. But today, North Carolina wanted to run a little bit more. They're adjusting their system. And Tennessee run them out of the building. Like we like to say, they put their foots on their throats. They didn't let off of them today. And that's a big deal when you beat a program with the stature of North Carolina, because they outplayed them. They were quicker. They were better defensively. Outside of adjusting to Manic, I thought they were good today defensively, much better than they were yesterday. And, I'll say it again. I was extremely impressed with the bounce back from Kennedy Chandler. We saw more of Ziegler today. Didn't see a whole lot of him yesterday. And I thought Huntley Hatfield looked much better today. Because yesterday I thought he looked like a guy who was still adjusting. Today, I mean, he moved, he adjusted, he altered some shots. He did some good things today. Good to see John Fulkerson back as well. John Fulkerson, I mean, he's the heart and soul of Tennessee basketball. And like to see him be that vocal leader, him and Josiah Jordan James. Of course, James was out due to flu-like symptoms today. Is he a guy who maybe he needs to be on the lookout for minutes? You know, what's going to go on there?
You got me now?
Yeah, man.
I think my mic shorted out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just went kind of crazy. It sounded like something was going. I could see you talking, but I couldn't figure out what was going on there. So
switch the old mics. So
all right. Let's see. Barrett Griffin for $4.99 was at the Lady Vols thrower today. Didn't get to see the men's. How'd the offense look today? And did we utilize the bigs more this game? Thank you for the super chat, Barrett. Glad you got to enjoy that game. Big win for the Lady Vols today. Undefeated on the season. So good to see them. I mean, as you guys know, it's a proud program. We're down a few years. Hopefully the Lady Vols are on their way back as well. Offense looked much better today. The bigs, I thought they did well. They were more mobile, I guess I would say, today. A lot more movement. Just a lot of, Chandler and Fulkerson, Chandler to Hatfield, Chandler to Kamwa, even Euros, I mean, had some moments inside. Much more effective, much faster, much better today. So it was a night and day difference.
Whole lot more efficient.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you started seeing a little bit more what this offense could do. So, like I was saying when you were getting everything going, I think it was a productive weekend. Number one, you beat North Carolina, traditional blue blood. They're going to be strong this year.
Yeah.
They got a good team. They got talent. And you also played what I would consider I don't know if you consider Villanova a blue blood, but they're always, their down years have been minimal. They're normally always up top. They've won a couple national titles here in recent years. You got to see different styles. You've seen what you're good at. And more importantly, you've seen what you need to work on.
Yep.
And I think if you would have just seen the same style all weekend, then maybe you don't know what you need to work on. But just that contrast in teams you played, I think that provides you when you get back to Knoxville tomorrow. They'll probably get back tonight, but when you go back to that practice court tomorrow, we got to know what we need to work on. Of course, you're going to know how your opponents play ahead of time as well, with Tennessee Tech coming up this week and then Presbyterian. But then more when you get into Texas Tech, you get in Arizona, Memphis, and those games. So if it's if it's one of these teams that plays that Villanova style, you know what you need to work on.
Yep.
And, if they played more of that 3-point guard, so to speak, lineup, I wonder how that could have altered how they played against Villanova.
Oh, for sure. And Vol Guy 23, I'll throw this out to you because you're calling me out here. Yes, it's a green screen, but it is a picture of my place at downstairs in my basement. I'm not there right now. So I do have a little setup at home, but not there. So, no, I agree with everything you said. You can take a lot away from this weekend, especially the things you got to work on and improve on. Coming in ranked in the top 20, you're a pretty good team, but you've got some distance between you and the teams in the top 5, the top 10, and that showed. So you take it, you look at the good, you look at the bad, and you move on and try to get better. And you're right into some games that you should win. You should firm up that rotation. You should get some more minutes for these younger guys. And then, man, you're right back into the fire. with some more tough games that are only serving to get you ready for conference play and hopefully postseason play.
Let's see. Barrett heard Ziegler was in the game. Chandler heard that went. Yeah, it went fantastic today. They look Ziegler, man. He was just quick. He shot well. He drove. He created. He was a spark. He was big for them today, no doubt. Yeah, I felt like this was discussed so many times. Apparently, it's Vescovy. There's no emphasis on the O in it. Apparently, it's just Vescovy, but I'm still not sure on that because I heard him kept saying different pronunciations.
Well, the thing is, he's let everybody say it wrong for 2 years, if that's the case.
I laughed yesterday. They said that when if he goes out to eat and has to give a name, he just gives the name Bob. So there you go. It's just Bob, guys. Vescovy, ever how you want. It's just Bob. So, but I mean, that's a guy they keep saying that Rick Barnes said was the most improved player. I mean, listen, Bob Vescovy, he's not without flaws, but man, I honestly, you talked about earlier who is taking over as a leader. He's making a good case for it. Because he was the one guy yesterday while guys were pouting, and he had some moments as well, getting aggravated, but he played his butt off this weekend. He played well. I think he's starting to become that guy.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I think you're right. He could be because he seems to be consistent, and that's key for being a leader. What we've seen from Fulkerson, he struggled last year, and I think there were a number of reasons why, coming off of COVID, coming off some injuries. Josiah Jordan-James has never really emerged and reached that status of his rankings coming in. And then you've got guys that, Bailey and some other guys that are they're good players, but I don't think they have that
streaky.
Yeah, they're streaky, inconsistent, and consistency is what you need. And I think Vescovy, when playing where he's comfortable, kind of on the wing, and not running the point, where he can come off a screen, catch and shoot, or catch and drive, and do a little creating. I think that's more suited for his game, and sets up well for him to have the production. But if he can step up and be that guy that kind of shoulders this team. Fulkerson did it, I think, out of necessity 2 years ago, especially late in the season. Going up to Rupp, man, he pretty much single-handedly took that game over, and really the team over to close out the year. And that's where you were super excited coming into last year. You had him and you had Pons, and we've not really talked about Pons. I think defensively, that's where this team had their identity last year, and even the year before. And it's a big miss not having him there. He was a rim protector, and he cleaned up shots. His help defense was ridiculous. And that's something that yesterday this team could have really used. But going back to Fulkerson, I think that he could be the guy, but I like your point about Vescovy. I think he could definitely be a guy that steps up, and maybe it's the both of them. They've both been around the program. You've got to have somebody step up, though. You got to have some dog in somebody.
It's what I talked about last night on the football show, is that there's so many flaws with the ratings process with high schoolers. And I feel they're a little loose with the 5-star ranking. And all they do is put unrealistic expectations on guys because, it's amazing the expectations if a guy's a 4 versus a 5. If a guy comes in a 4, people are more willing to wait. If they come in a 5, you're expecting a guy to come in and be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem with the system. And, if you're rating guys, if I were a scout and I were rating guys, I mean, for me to put a 5-star on a guy, he's going to be an instant impact game changer. If there's any questions, if there's any development issues or anything along those lines, I put him as a 4 at best. And that's where and I think, and it's unfair to these guys because a guy like James, he's been a good player. He is a good player. He does a lot of good things. He's an asset to the program. But he was misranked. And I don't think the analysis when he was coming in, there was nothing that screamed that said he's going to be this instant impact takeover guy.
Right.
Even with Springer and Keon Johnson last year,
they weren't ready out the gate.
They weren't. I would venture to say they were top 50, high 4-star guy, and maybe their ranking was justified. I think for a player to be a 5-star, and this is in football, this is in baseball, this is in basketball, instant impact, game changer when you come in. Same's for football. If they're not, if there's a development process, if there's a growing period, you don't put a 5th star on them.
Guys that can come in and take over a game. And I think, and do it consistently. That's not saying that, Josiah Jordan-James can come in and he can drop 30 one night, but he's not going to give you that every night. And I think, going back to Chandler and he can come in and as a true point guard, there's a lot that he provides this team that they've been lacking and having guys play out of position. But Springer and Keon last year, I think they were adjusting to the game, and then you had Springer tweak his ankle or whatever, and he kind of started a little bit slow. And Keon, I think for the first half of the season, I think he was really the better one. But nothing, not taking away anything from him. Great players. Refreshing to be able to get that type of talent to Tennessee. That's something that Barnes has done. He's made Tennessee basketball a destination program. That level of talent years ago, they weren't looking at Tennessee. But you've got guys that are, making that transition to the league, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time for Tennessee basketball. You want them to kind of take that next step though, and advance a little bit further, or win a few more games. And it's just something. Basketball's tough. It's one of those things where there's so much parity and so much talent, and it's one of those sports where you can go out and have a night like Tennessee had yesterday, and then turn around and look like a completely different team the next day.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. The point guard position's a little. Their job is to create. Mm-hmm. You're seeing a more scorer first mentality out of point guards. I mean, if you look at the NBA with it, but Chandler's doing what he's supposed to do. I mean, he had a tough day yesterday, but there's going to be nights he scores 20 points or more. There's going to be nights he's probably dishing out close to 10 assists and letting somebody else do it. That is a point guard's job.
Make those around you better.
Make those around you better. And, but, we're right at the hour mark, so we'll go ahead and wrap up here. But, I think it was a very productive weekend for Tennessee basketball. It was again, you see where you struggle, what you need to work on, and then you bounce back. You got hit in the mouth. You took it. You didn't pout. You come back out and you punch North Carolina in the mouth today. So overall, good weekend. Any final thoughts?
I'll throw this out there. I'll apologize for my mic crapping out. I'll make sure that I get that sorted and get some new cables on the way, and we'll try to eliminate that issue. But yeah, like you said, good weekend for Tennessee basketball. You take some lumps yesterday against Villanova, a really good team, but good bounce back. Good way to kind of recover from that. And I think we found out some stuff about this team. And I think there's a lot to work on, but they've got a core that they could do some stuff and have a great season if they put things together. And you got some guys that develop, and it's just one of those things. They're going to be well coached, or you expect them to be well coached. And I think that was evident in the turnaround and much better effort seen today against North Carolina.
Well, I mean, it speaks for itself yesterday. The football team outscored the basketball team yesterday.
Yeah.
So on that note, again, a good weekend. And I was happy with Rick Barnes adjusting today. I felt he adjusted. He didn't just go back to what he felt worked before. He adjusted, and it paid dividends today. But again, to kind of preview what's coming up this week, look for videos in the morning. There was the day after posted today by me. There was our post games from yesterday, football and basketball. Of course, if you're late to this, you can check out our full post game wrap today. Boogie will be dropping videos this week. I'm going to try to come up with some basketball either Monday or Tuesday before I come home. These guys will be live. I think the plan's Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Unless we hear otherwise, I know we'll let you know on that. But, it's a week for Thanksgiving. Again, I'll say thanks to Boogie for the platform. Thanks for Dauber for being on for We Can Talk Basketball. It's pretty cool to do that. Thanks to all you guys that are listening out there. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving. You make this possible with us. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Pass it on. I know all you guys that are in here normally have probably passed it on. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit like. Check out the merchandise store. Pick up either the latest Talkin VAWLS merchandise. Pass it on. We're on the road to 10,000. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. He's Dauber. There we go. Pointed the opposite way. I'm the Indy Kid. Whatever you do this week, guys, be thankful and put your foots on the throats and clean it up. Have a good week, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's see if we can find the outro here. There we go. Have a good week, guys.
The songs howl like we poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken passes in a day.